And we're off. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to yet another. Man, we keep doing this like every day almost. Yet is every day. Episode 531 of the All Dolphins podcast for Friday, August 1st. We have moved the calendar to a new month. This is the month when things get serious in terms of preparation for the 2025 NFL regular season. We're going to dive into the Dolphins training camp practice at the Baptist Health Training Complex. Tyreek's always entertaining media session never fails to deliver, and again he delivered. And assorted other news with Chris Perkins from the South Florida Sun Sentinel back after a one-day absence. Where the hell were you yesterday, Perkins?
I was out with Tyreek. We were hanging out, man. Come on, yeah, come on.
I kid. No. Perk was doing the Dolphins deep dive with Perk. Very appropriately named over at sunsentinel.com. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. And if you haven't checked out the podcast, the All Dolphins podcast from Thursday with Deputy Editor Dante Colonelli, check that out as well. And you're here, so check this one out, obviously. So let's start, I guess, with the news items as we always do on this Friday. There were a couple of roster moves early in the morning before even Mike McDaniel spoke, which is actually unusual. Those usually come right before the Dolphins step onto the practice field. Yeah. Today, a little different. News that we expected and confirmed, basically, officially official, the bad news with Kader Kohou, placed on injured reserve because it happens now. He is done for the 2025 season with the Dolphins. The only caveat to that, he could conceivably be waived injured or waived with an injury settlement and then play for another team or even the Dolphins after a certain amount of time expires. That's not likely. Now, Kader's situation is that he will be an unrestricted free agent next offseason, and this is reminiscent in terms of that particular scenario playing out to Nick Needham, who sustained, in his case, I believe it was the Achilles injury during his contract year, and obviously doesn't do wonders for the market value heading into free agency next year.
James Daniels went through the same thing, except he played 4 games. You know, it's so funny, Poop. I'm not trying to be morbid at all, but it's just so funny in football and all pro sports. You never know when it's the last time you're going to see somebody. And, you know, you see Kader and he's out there and he's on the podium and we're talking to him and then they get injured. I think Ashton Davis got injured the day after we talked to him when he was on the podium, and we're going to see Ashton. But it's just that just always strikes me as bizarre. And it's like, man, we're not going to see Kader again in the locker room for the rest of the season. It's just such a kind of bizarre thing that you go through in pro sports and NFL.
It is very fleeting indeed, and then you never know. You never know.
Yep.
Who was it who made the comment? Was it Willie Gay Jr.? I think he said something along those lines that you never know, and that's why you have to basically embrace every single solitary day. To fill Kader Kohou's spot on the 90-man roster, the Dolphins brought back quarterback Brett Gabbert, the rookie free agent from Miami of Ohio, younger brother of Blaine Gabbert, former first-round pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's call it what it is. It's a training camp arm to give Tua, Zach Wilson some rest at times if they need it, particularly when they do the joint practices with the Bears and the Lions coming up.
And I wonder, you know, Tua was telling us that, what'd he say? I'm not too cool to play in preseason games. In fact, I would like some snaps.
Yeah.
Brett Gabbert, wow. His return kind of tells me that Tua probably won't get very much action in those preseason games, right? Which we expected anyway. But, you know, when you have that other arm, it's just like you said, bless you. He's going to take very subtle there for me.
I'm going to get off the screen to do it now. Just like I got to work on the noise.
That's because you were raised right. You were brought up right. You're not just going to sneeze in everybody's face. That's good. That speaks very well for your upbringing. But it just tells you that the plan is not for Tua to play like half of any game, or well, I think that's what it tells you. I should say that seems to be what it tells you, but I think that realistically leads into that Tua is probably not going to play much in the preseason once again in preseason games.
Nor should he. And last year he played one series.
Right.
I think it was against Washington, one drive, and he led the team to a touchdown, threw that touchdown pass to River Craycraft, which wound up being a costly touchdown reception for Craycraft because he sustained a shoulder injury on the play. And for those wondering what's going on with River Craycraft, he hasn't resurfaced since being waived by the Seahawks with an injury designation, March or April, I think it was. So, and a couple of former Dolphin players who are in the same boat, including Raekwon Davis, who also was released with injury designation by the Indianapolis Colts in the offseason, who could have faced the Dolphins in the season opener this year. He also hasn't resurfaced. Last year had blood clot issues, which he revealed to reporters after spending some time on NFI, came back, played the season. Not saying this is what's led to him being released in the offseason, but certainly a possibility. So, moving on from the roster moves, I mentioned the family ties with Brett Gabbert, his brother Blaine. I wanted to point out, because I didn't mention that yesterday, that Jalen McKenzie, the new Dolphins offensive tackle, turns out he's the son of former Dolphin senior executive, personnel executive Reggie McKenzie, who now is over with the Tennessee Titans. And Jalen McKenzie, we should point out, left practice early on Friday to go inside the facility. It may have been as simple as dehydration or something to that. It didn't look like it was any kind of like body part or serious injury. Right. And then we also should point out that Mohamed Kamara left the field with trainers to go over to the fire rescue truck, ambulance, whatever, however you want to describe it. Stayed there for a bit, but we were told that he was doing okay. So that's obviously good news there. In terms of other news, before we talk about the obligatory practice report, we'll go ahead and throw it out there just because chances are somebody's going to come up with the idea, hey, should the Dolphins make a move for Micah Parsons? Because now he has requested a trade from the Dallas Cowboys. Number one, the Cowboys aren't going to trade him. It's going to want that let's call it playing the game that always gets played. Eventually, they'll cave and they'll give Micah Parsons probably more than they could have given him earlier, but that tends to be how the Cowboys operate, and everything will be hunky-dory. If in a highly unlikely scenario, the Cowboys decided, you know what, yeah, we're going to trade you, there are so many reasons why there's no way the Dolphins can make this work. Number one, the fact that they're very tight on salary cap. I think it was $1 million before they redid Minka's contract that supposedly saved 11, so now they have $12 million. Micah wants a new contract, which is what the situation with Dallas is all about. Then you have the fact that the Dolphins really going to add another edge defender, basically to go along with Bradley Chubb, John Phipps, even though, yes, Micah Parsons can play inside linebacker as well, but still he's at his best when he's rushing from the outside. So do you see any scenario whatsoever, even if Micah Parsons does wind up being traded by the Cowboys, that the Dolphins could make a move for him?
No, nothing realistic. And look, if something like that happened, if I was Zach Sealer, I would be incensed that you took care of Micah Parsons
pretty mad
before you took care of me. I would be incensed. And again, Zach is being a good guy. There's no hold in. He's gone through every drill every day, full pads, risking injury. You've got to pay that man. Got to.
Without question. Here's a good question for you here. Give me a percentage, because Zach did not make a commitment, nor should he, did not make a commitment when he spoke to the media about his stance of doing everything that's normal, would continue, forever.
Right.
Or until he got his extension. Give me a percentage of Zach continuing to handle a full workload once joint practices start.
Yeah, that is a very good question. I read on Miami Dolphins on SI.com that it's a 95% chance that Zach gets done before the season. However, the joint practice thing, boy, if I'm Zach, he's such a good guy and he cares about team. I'm going to give it 75% chance that he continues through joint practices. He's such a good guy. He cares about the team so much. If I was him, I would probably be holding in right now. But he's such a good guy. I'm going to say 75% chance he continues doing all the reps through joint practices.
Yeah, and let's be clear. If he were to say, Dolphins, you haven't taken care of me yet, sorry, not doing 11 on 11s against the Bears or the Lions, that would not make him a bad guy.
Nope.
Okay, it would not. It wouldn't be like say goodnight to the bad guy. That would not be doing that.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah. Scarface, I like it. One of my favorite scenes.
It is to me, it's like almost the funniest movie that's not intended to be funny.
Right. I agree.
It's so over the top.
Right.
With some of the caricatures and the dialogue that it almost becomes funny when it's supposed to be this very serious crime drama. And also I can relate because I went to Miami-Dade College, and when you have Tony Montana's sister, I go to college Miami-Dade, I'm like, yeah, you go, girl.
Right.
we
nostalgic.
Exactly. I know. We digress. Yeah, and here's the other part of it too, is at some point Drew Rosenhouse, who represents Zach Sealer, who represents Minkah Fitzpatrick, who represents Jonnu Smith, who represents Jeff Wilson Jr., who got a tryout with a team that I can't place. He got a tryout this week with the 49ers, actually. Got a tryout for the 49ers. And Grant Dubose, wide receiver, had that nasty concussion to Houston last year, had a second tryout. One was the 49ers, the other one, it happened this week, and I'm forgetting right now. And really hope this guy lands a job.
Yeah, me too.
Braylon Sanders, by the way, if you remember him, practice squad wide receiver, has had tryouts. I think he's up to 4 that I've seen in the past week or so. Anyway, my point is that, and then we go with puberty again. Drew Rosenhaus at some point is going to be telling Zach, Zach, you're a good team player and all that, and I know you want to try to do the right thing and like do right by your teammates and all that. But dude, be smart. Last thing you want is to like have some Bears or Lions offensive lineman roll into you on an 11-on-11 snap in practice, and boom, you sustain a severe injury. So to me, I think I don't think I wouldn't go as high as you did. Since you set the number, I'm going to go under. How's that?
All right. The bar's been set.
To me, I'd go 50-50 at best. And again, I'm sorry, Perk. I hope there's not a single Dolphin fan who would begrudge Sealer for doing that. Yes, he's under contract, but he's stupidly underpaid, and the Dolphins just took care of revising Minkah Fitzpatrick contract because he wanted some security. Well, give Zach Sealer the same security.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I think it's time for Zach to put some pressure on the Dolphins. That I agree with you. I think this thing is going to get done before the regular season, but get it done sooner rather than later. Let's not make this a Jerry Jones situation.
Yeah. Although it would be a nice change to have an owner who talks to the media.
Well, maybe not every day, but yeah.
No, correct. Maybe not.
Actually, I would like that. What am I saying? The fans probably don't like it, and the rest of the organization probably doesn't like it. But as a media member, I wouldn't mind if Steve Ross talked every day. Content.
Yeah, which brings us to Tyreek Hill.
Oh, a content filler.
Good segue, right? The dude cannot help himself. He will say some things, and today there were a lot of them. And so let's get to it.
Yeah.
Among other things, actually, let's take turns. We'll go with what struck us.
Okay.
The first, I'm going to start with the low hanging fruit. Omar Kelly question is like, how did the Dolphins go about changing the identity to go away from being known as a finesse team? And his answer, without missing a beat, get Devon Achane off the field on 3rd and short. And it was like, whoa, because it's like he's not wrong. But when have we ever heard a player say that about a teammate? I mean, whoa.
Yeah, and Tyreek was he doesn't have much tact or diplomacy. So it just comes out, and I'm sure by now Mike McDaniel just kind of looks at this stuff and rolls his, or he's told about this stuff. I'm sure he doesn't look. He's told, and he just kind of rolls his eyes. He just wants to know what questions he might get. But wow, my thing is overall, just an umbrella. Tyreek is still a troll. He's still a troll. And when he was asked by Hal Habib of the Palm Beach Post it was going down a line of about Tyreek being late for stretching, and Hal said, so Tyreek, when you showed up late last year for stretch, what were you doing? And Tyreek said, I was back there reading the BS y'all were saying about me on Twitter. And it's just like, Reek, come on, man, come on. And just trolling. We know that's not what Tyreek was doing, but he can't help himself. Like he's just got to mess with people. He's just got to stick that needle in. I want to say Tyreek has changed, and I guess maybe, possibly, there's signs that he has, but Reek's gonna reek. I mean, that's cheater. I mean, come on.
And the bottom line is, it doesn't matter if he takes care of his business when he does media sessions, if he's on social media. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't make a huge difference. What matters is, again, show on time.
Right.
And the truth is, he has been there for the start of stretching every single day we've been out there except for one. And he explained that he was dropping off the kids at the pool.
Yeah. Again, more trolling, more.
Well, it's a little bit of TMI right there, but
yeah, right. It way too much. Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one that has stood out, and I'm glad he said it because it kind of validates what I've been saying, and we're gonna have a story on this on MiamiDolphinsSI.com on Friday, possibly before you see the podcast or after you see the podcast. I asked him, any of the young cornerbacks catch your eye so far in training camp? Without hesitation, he said Storm Duck.
Yep.
And then he proceeded to say all the things he liked about Storm Duck. And Storm Duck had a play today that really stood out with Tua rolling to his left, going deep to Jalen Waddle, and Storm Duck was right there with him, basically step for step. That was impressive. And I have liked what I've seen from the dude. It's funny because I'm going to be honest here, just to show I'm not somebody who's always going like this, patting myself on the back, or go like, see, I told you so. Last year, the Dolphins had 3 rookie free agent cornerbacks. It was Isaiah Johnson, Jason Maitre, and Storm Duck. And the one that was feeling the least last training camp was Storm Duck. I really like Maitre in the slot, and I like Isaiah Johnson's length on the outside as well. And Storm Duck was he's okay, but he didn't floor me as much as the other two. And it's Storm Duck who wound up making the roster. And this training camp, that dude has been really, really good.
Yep. Yep. He's been the best of the healthy cornerbacks. Because Cater Cole, who would have been the best, but yeah, he's been the best of the guys that are now healthy. Storm Duck has. I
would tell you that he to me was on a par with Cater even before Cater was out. Cater maybe made a couple more plays on the ball, but I haven't seen Duck being in coverage near a completion around him where he'd be victimized. And mind you, Dolphins do play a lot of zone. But I haven't seen it. I haven't seen a whole lot of completions in his area. So to me, that dude has been real good. Any thoughts? And then Tyreek addressed the Tua comments saying it was needed. This is where the part where he's doing, good Tyreek. Your thoughts on that?
It's good that he said that, because if he would have said anything else, he would have set this place on fire, right? So it's at least Tyreek was serious and not trolling about that, because even if he was joking about that, then it would have been, well, you're not serious about what Tua said, and it would have been a big deal. So good for Tyreek on that. One thing that I thought that Tyreek said was very interesting, and he said it very quickly, and it's something that I've been harping on, is he was talking about how teams played them last year. And he said that they jammed us at the line, and it was also the 2 deep. And I've been trying to tell people this, that it's not just the 2 deep. They were jamming these guys at the line. Waddle and Tyreek couldn't get off the line of scrimmage, and you know how much this is a timing passing game, precision, and that threw off the timing of the short and intermediate pass game. And if they did get a clean release, well, now you're running into the too high safety look. You've got, and Tyreek was saying this along with that, you've got to get them to drop that 8th man into the box. You've got to do that. The run game has to produce something. It's got to help the pass game, because the pass game can't just do it by itself. I did ask Tyreek about the new wide receivers coach, Robert Prince, and then Bobby Slowick, the senior pass game coordinator. Tyreek said Prince has been a pain in the butt to him and Jalen Waddle. So I think that's good for Robert Prince that he's not letting them skate. And he said that he liked some of the things that Bobby Slowick is doing. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he said Slowick has an emphasis on precision and good route running. I think that's what he said. But it sounds like both of those guys, Prince and Slowick, are kind of cracking down on those guys a little bit. I don't think it's you guys better do it or else I'm going to put Malik in there. I don't think it's anything like that. You still got to understand who you're talking to and their position on the field. You're not replacing either of them. But it sounds like they are a little bit more disciplinarians right now to Tyreek and to Waddle.
We should mention also that maybe Tyreek got into trolling mode because he was hit with the Tua question. I mean, boom, right away.
Yeah.
And it was your colleague, Mr. Ferrona's bonus. Right off the bat.
Yep.
And then it may be like, okay, you're going to get me like with the mea culpa question right off the bat. And after that, I'm going to go into troll mode. So,
but Tyreek, he was in a great mood and he was laughing. And Tyreek is usually in a great mood. He's usually a great interview. Upbeat, good mood, all that kind of stuff. He was that today. He was true Tyreek today. So hats off to Tyreek.
Yeah, and he ended his media session. He was asked about what Darren Waller has shown him during his NFL career as it relates to how he can help the offense without skipping a beat. He said he can rap.
Right. It was broken up after that.
And with that came the hook. Tyreek, okay, we're done. Thanks, guys.
Because it was about to get crazy. Yeah.
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 Okay, practice notes before we talk about who we liked, who we didn't like today at practice. Isaiah Johnson was a new name among missing. That's the cornerback we just talked about. Kendall Sheffield was back after missing practice on Wednesday. Jalen Conyers, I think you may have noted that previously as a walking boot around the left foot, I want to say.
Can't remember.
Still no Dante Trader Jr., though I saw him working on the side on the bike today. That's the first time I saw him. He had a compression sleeve around his right leg.
And let me add this on Trader Jr. He was out there working hard with the trainer, with the medicine ball and all that kind of stuff. But he was in shorts, jersey, and a helmet, as opposed to, say, Aaron Brewer, who is in practice gear. So I'm thinking that Trader is closer to coming back than Brewer, perhaps. But I think it's a good sign that he's in helmet and practice gear.
Yeah, you mean Brewer was not in practice gear?
That's right. Yeah, that's what I mean. That Brewer's still kind of in. He's Brewer's not in jersey and helmet. That's what I should say.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I should say. Sorry. And Trader was in jersey and helmet.
Get it right, will you? No,
I know it.
No, and as I pointed out to Perk when I saw that with Dante Trader Jr., a player working like either on the bike or with a trainer on the side of the field normally does not wear a helmet.
Right.
So I mean, take that for what it's worth. Maybe it's a sign of dedication and all that, and like getting the feel of it's hot out there. Let me be hot, because it's bad out there. Two visitors at practice: Chad Johnson and Teron Armstead, who's half the man he used to be, literally. At one point, he was standing with the offensive lineman. After that, he was between the two fields. Okay, I'm going to give you the floor first to start with your players who impressed you today.
I'm looking at these first 2 rounds of the draft of the last 2 years, and these 4 players still impress me. Kenneth Grant and Jonas Avainaya from this year, Chop Robinson and Patrick Paul, the first and second round picks from last year. I'm not going to get overly excited about these guys. Chop is the one who's proven. Patrick Paul is the next most proven guy because he got some snaps last year. But all 4 of these guys in individual drills and in one-on-ones, I like what I'm seeing from all 4 of them. So it's continued improvement and continued promise from all 4 of those. I like the way that they've looked.
Okay, and I'm with you on 3 of those 4. I'm still not feeling Kenneth Grant. And for those people in the comments who feel the need to say this, we get it. We understand it's early in training camp. We are telling you what we're seeing so far. We're not making any sort of long-term determination. We are evaluating what we're seeing so far. And so far, I have yet to see anything that gives me a reason to be like, yeah, Kenneth Grant's going to be a beast as a rookie. Okay. And
I think Grant's.
I'm not saying that he's not going to be.
Yep.
I'm just saying right now I have seen no signs yet that's what's going to happen. I think Jonas Avainaya right now is giving me the feels of somebody who's going to be real good, and probably sooner rather than later. Patrick Paul's looking also like somebody who gives me every reason to believe he's going to get the job done at left tackle. Chop looks like he could be in for a bust-out season. I don't know about Defensive Player of the Year, like Jalen Phillips said, but he's looking very good. And Kenneth Grant, it may come, it might not come. I don't know that it's not fair to expect, boom, automatically first-round pick is going to be a complete stud. If you remember Christian Wilkins' his first year with the Dolphins, he was good. I mean, was he like greater the Christian Wilkins he was in his final year with the Dolphins? No. And since we're on the rookie defensive tackles, I'm going to be honest with you, the second best, the other top defensive tackle behind Zach Sealer right now is none of the rookies. To me, it's Matt Dickerson.
Matt Dickerson. I agree.
I'm not sure it's close. And again, it's the rookies. It's their first camp. That needs to be considered. But so far, this is what we're seeing, or at least what I'm seeing. I'll give you a name. You mentioned Patrick. Well, we talked about Paul and Savinaya. Another good performance by Andrew Meyer again.
See, he's a guy that I feel about him kind of like you feel about Kenneth Grant. Meyer, I need to see more from him. I need to see him moving people a little bit more effectively, but he's been good. He's been good. I think I'll say this about Andrew Meyer. In OTAs and minicamp, I think I can say this now. We saw with Brewer out, we saw Liam Eichenberg at center a lot, and not much of Meyer. And now with Liam out, we're seeing a lot of Meyer at center, and he's, I think he's going to keep the number 2 center job. Coming into camp, I would have thought that Liam was going to be your number 2 center. Now I think Andrew Meyer could be your number 2 center, and maybe Liam moves to a backup guard, full-time backup guard with the capability of playing center. I think they could probably make that move. I need to see more of Meyer in joint practices, but he's been, he's improved. I would say that he's improved this offseason. My turn?
Go ahead.
We've been, you know what? Okay, so we've already mentioned Storm Duck. Everybody knows about Willie Gay Jr. I'll put Alexander Madison out there. I wrote about him today in my column. I asked Mike McDaniel about him, and because he's a guy that I personally, I'm not going to speak for the whole media contingent or the Dolphins fan base. I had him pigeonholed as a short yardage running back, and he's shown us quick feet. He's been ripping off 8, 10, 12-yard runs on the regular. He's not doing 50 and 60-yard runs, but who cares? He's getting first downs. I think at this point, he's running back number 2. HN is clearly RB1. I thought coming in, Jalen Wright was going to be RB2. It's Madison over Jalen Wright, over Ollie Gordon. Madison has been better with the pads on. Alexander Madison is somebody who has caught my eye.
Okay, this is where I'm going to point out that unlike you and unlike other members of the media, and you want to fire arrows at me, by all means, here, I'll give you a big target. I don't assign yards on these in any single run in training camp because guys are not tackling. It basically they try to thump or they go with arm tackles and they stop. So, but I will say this. He is looking to me like a different running back than I saw last year with the Raiders.
Right.
There's a lot of conviction in his running, which I don't see. Like Jalen Wright, everybody talked about. I mean, he showed off on social media with the body in the offseason, like cut like nobody's business. They were like, whoa. But I'm not feeling him in terms of how he's hitting the hole. He's had a couple of decent runs, but not nearly as consistent as Alexander Madison. I'm with you on that. Now it's my turn. I'm going to give you again, but little bad. Alec Ingold had a little case of the dropsies today. Moving on.
Was that a legit drop? No, I was blocked off by the tent. Now this was a goal line, a red zone play. Tua throws it. Jalen Phillips is in coverage against Alec Ingold. The last thing that I saw was the throw looked like it was long, and I thought Alec Ingold dove or extended. I thought he dove, but I don't know. He extended his hands, and apparently it was incomplete. I don't know if he dove or what. I thought the pass was overthrown, but others said no, he should have caught it. Your thoughts on that play?
Oh, I'm with you because I'm in the same spot you are. Basically, right. we Perk and I are really, really close. We sit very close to each other. So.
Right. During the McDaniel, not in the press room, but during McDaniel and at practice, yeah.
Yeah, in the media room, though, in the media room, we're on opposite sides, so don't think there's anything weird going on here. So I don't know about that one. I looked to me like I saw the ball and I saw him like reach for it.
Yeah.
And then I saw the ref signal incomplete. I'd be lying if I said I saw exactly what happened. But one of the first plays of 11 on 11s, he got behind Jalen Phillips.
Yep.
And he couldn't catch a pass that he really should have caught. So anyway, one guy who did catch a pass was love that catch was Theo Whis Jr. in the back of the end zone, despite very, very good coverage by B.J. Adams, who, by the way, was back at practice wearing a red jersey, non-contact because he was in the concussion protocol. I think he may still be in the concussion protocol. And this was really good coverage. I think Zach Wilson may have been the quarterback. Great coverage. And Whis went over Adams, high-pointed the ball, and came down with both feet before he stepped out of bounds in the back of the end zone for the touchdown. And this is a guy, he caught my eye in the offseason, and he's kind of continued. Him and Andrew Armstrong really have stood out among the four rookie free agent wide receivers. Monterey Baldwin and A.J. Henning are the other two. If either Armstrong or Whis made this 53, I would not be surprised.
And you know what? You talk about that catch. Tanner Connor had a really good catch also. Touchdown catch, and he went up and it was over. I can't remember who the defender was. And then Theo Whis you just referenced him. He went up high to catch that Ewers ball. And kind of my point here is I want to see these DBs make some breakups. It's been tight coverage. This was tight coverage in many cases. We've seen Storm Duck make the plays. I want to see some other guys knock that ball down. You don't have to get an interception, but just break it up, be disruptive. You've kind of mastered the coverage part of it. But if these guys are still making the catches, and I know it's early in camp, again, this is not a final answer. I'm not saying it's a final answer, but I want to see these DBs start to be disruptive. The coverage has been good. We've seen Cornell Armstrong draped over Jalen Waddle, and Waddle makes the catch. We've seen the tight coverage, so I want to see these DBs take that next step, knock it down, be disruptive, break some of these plays up. But it's nice that we've seen the tight coverage.
Yeah, and I am one of those who thinks it's actually possible for there to be great coverage at DB, did basically everything you could ask of him, and it was still a touchdown. And that, to me, that play, that right there.
Yep, I agree.
I cannot bring myself to say B.J. Adams could have made a play or should have made a play. That was just a brilliant play by Whis. There was a pick. It was Jack Jones in the end zone against Zach Wilson.
Yep.
I should mention Grayson Murphy. Again, he's been coming up very slow at the start of camp, but lately he is coming on and coming on and coming on, and going to be very, very difficult to cut. And last year also he looked good in training camp until I think he tore an ACL in the preseason game, and that was it. But he's going to be a tough guy to cut.
I think these backup edge rushers, and I've made a note of this, they've been good. They've been coming on. Quentin Bell, Grayson Murphy, Mo Kamara's made a couple of plays, Derek McClendon, they've all flashed. And, I don't want to rip the second team offensive line. They have not been good at all. Not at all. And I don't know if this is a reflection on the backup offensive tackles and, tight ends are part of it, but offensive tackles, but I would prefer to give credit to these edge rushers. They're good. Well, they've made plays. They've made themselves notice. I shouldn't say they're good. They've been playing well in their role against the backup offensive line. And I agree with you. They're going to make it tough on the coaches to make these final cuts, because there's four of them, right? Bell, McClendon, Kamara, and Murphy, who have been making plays as backup edge rushers.
Cameron Good had a good day also.
Yeah, right. And Cam Good. That's right. Cam Good. Yesterday we saw him twice set the edge, I think back to back on run plays. I forgot Cam Good. So it's going to be, it's good to see. And of course, that's in addition to the starting edge rushing trio of Jalen Phillips, Chuck Bradley Chubb, and Chop Robinson. So in addition to being loaded at inside linebacker, they've got some good depth at edge rusher also. That front seven, it could be really, really, really good.
It could. I'm not sure I'm quite as high on it as you are, but it could be. It could be good.
Yeah.
And then my final thought here is the last play of practice was an interesting one. It was Ollie Gordon, but Ollie Gordon's a trip. I love his personality. I hope he stays on the team for many, many years. I mean, he's just very refreshing, nice personality.
Yeah.
But the last play of practice is he got a handoff, and KJ Britt met him in the hole, and no tackle, but there was a thump, and that was the loudest we've heard, to me, since the start of training camp. Certainly since they started wearing pads 3 practices ago. I mean, there you could hear it clearly, the noise of pad against pad, and that was the last play of practice.
Yeah, was that louder than Pharaoh Brown running down the guys?
Elijah Campbell, it was. Yeah, because that one was 2 guys giving it, whereas Pharaoh Brown just basically took care of Elijah Campbell. I mean, nothing against Campbell. I mean, he gives what, 50, 60 pounds to Pharaoh Brown. So, any parting thoughts, Perk, before we say goodbye for this edition?
No, I thought with the last thing that I thought it was interesting that a couple of players talked about the physicality out there. Pharaoh Brown, KJ Britt, when we asked them, one of the knocks against this team was that there's a whole lot of finesse. And as newcomers, both of them kind of looked puzzled at us and thought, who's saying that? And it's like, well, kind of the whole league, right? But they were like, I haven't seen that out here where this is going to be a physical, hard-hitting team. So just make a mental note of that. That's what they both said first year. What else are they going to say? That's what you would say as a poop line. Just make a mental note of it.
Okay, we shall see. And we shall see when it's 3rd and 1, and the first 3rd and 1 call of the season.
See if H-Hand's on the field.
The number 1 and number 2 safeties. It's not like a pass play. And 2 on the shotgun, and it's a pass play.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's going to do it. Please check out my man Perk's fine written content at sunsentinel.com. Check out my written content at MiamiDolphinsOnSI.com. We're going to be back here on Saturday. Dolphins are back at it. They practicing through the weekend. Monday they're not practicing, and then they go through the end of next week with 1 joint practice in Chicago. So that's going to wrap it up. As always, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your Friday.